been 6 weeks before Griffin Cassel let himself really look at him, and by the time an elderly man, always alone, always somewhere with a warm, familiar smile that seemed.
Keep her steady, Richard. The landing strip is now 10 miles ahead, just past the reservoir. Roger that, Gordon. Looking good down here.
This is a story that might be very and there's a period where it feels genuinely because that's not actually where this one goes. Let's get into it properly. Griffin Cassel was 43, the CEO of Cassel Renewable Partners, a clean-edge investment firm his father had founded 3 decades earlier. Board meetings and site visits and investor conferences scattered across a schedule that rarely let up for more than a week at a time. Past 2 years ago, an illness had moved faster than anyone expected, and since then, Griffin had made a deliberate choice most of his executive team quietly.
I'm serious. That's exactly what he said right before the server crashed. No way. You have to be making that up.
To be the kind of father who existed to her, mostly through video calls from hotel rooms. Romy was 3, endlessly curious, and had developed somewhere in the accumulated hours of the short life spent in airport an enthusiastic habit of waving at strangers, most of whom offered a polite, brief wave back before returning to their phones or their books. This particular stranger never did that. He waved back with his whole arm, every time, his face breaking into something that looked, even from a distance, like genuine delight rather than mere politeness. Griffin noticed him first on a flight from Denver to Chicago in early September. An older man, maybe 70, seated 4 rows back, dressed neatly in a way that suggested habit, rather than any particular occasion. He wore a plain gray cardigan and carried a paperback he didn't seem especially interested in finishing. And when Romy, restless in her window seat, twisted around and waved at him with the wide, unfiltered enthusiasm shared for most strangers, he had smiled and waved back with something that struck Griffin, even in that brief glance.
Mayday, mayday. Requesting immediate vectors to nearest runway. We are experiencing total hydraulic failure.
He noticed him again 3 weeks later.
Too low.
On an
Terrain.
entirely different airline.
Acknowledged. Stable at 50 feet.
For a supplier summit. Same cardigan, or one very like it. Same paperback further along now, tucked into the seatback pocket during boarding. Romy had spotted him before Griffin did that time, calling out the waving man, with such delight that 2 nearby passengers had turned to look.
The investigation
Griffin
findings
told
show that
himself
everything
that
about
day
Gordon is
that
completely
commercial
clean.
aviation routes
There are
were
no
infinite,
irregularities whatsoever.
that frequent business travelers crossed paths with the same strangers more often than people assumed. That Chicago's airports alone moved
Samuel's
tens of
dedication
millions
was
of passengers
unmatched.
a year
Yet,
through a
in all
relatively
those
small
years,
number
nobody
of
ever
practical
bothered to
connecting
ask about
routes.
his working
The
conditions.
third time was harder to explain away. A flight from Houston to a regional airport outside Tulsa, a smaller aircraft on a route Griffin's team used only twice that entire quarter, for a site visit to a wind farm development his firm was financing.
Mayday, mayday,
The man
mayday.
was seated 2 rows ahead this time.
We've suffered a catastrophic engine failure. Declaring an emergency.
Griffin caught, for the first time, something that looked almost like relief crossing the man's face, as if he'd been hoping, rather than
The investigation
simply
into
happy
Gordon
to
Pace is
see them
complete,
there.
sir.
By
A
the fourth
retired pilot.
encounter, on a
Are you
flight from
certain?
Houston back to
This
Denver
changes
in late
everything.
October,
Why
on
is
yet
that
another
man all
airline,
alone and cold,
Griffin had
Daddy?
stopped
He looks
finding any
sad, sweetheart.
version of coincidence adequate.
Maybe we can help him.
He found himself running the numbers in his head. The sheer improbability of 4 separate encounters across 4 separate carriers and routes, with no obvious geographic logic connecting them. And by the time the plane began its descent into Denver, he'd made up his
If we
mind that
restructure the
whatever this
workflow
was,
here, we could
it
save
needed
weeks.
looking into properly,
That's
rather than
brilliant.
simply
This
noticing
changes how we
to
approach
decide.
the entire
That's
system.
him again.
If the cold man has
He
somewhere
said
warm to
quietly
go.
his assistant, Marisol, who was seated across the aisle reviewing quarterly materials. The same man
This isn't just about the
that's
main building.
fourth
The
flight.
data shows this is a systemic
Mom saw
failure
looked
across
up,
multiple
glanced
regions.
back toward
I
the
agree.
man in
We need to
question.
address this immediately, starting with the
And
The transition has been
with an
difficult.
expression
We
that
need
told
more
him
training if you
she'd been
expect us to
wondering the
maintain
same
efficiency.
thing.
I understand.
For at
That's
least
exactly
one of
why I
these
wanted to meet
previous
face to
flights
face.
herself.
Welcome back,
I don't
everyone.
think
Enjoy your
it's
meal.
unreasonable.
Thanks.
We will. See you later.
And I want to be clear about that Griffin's mind went somewhere uneasy at
The
this
core
point.
principle of this new framework
She
is
ran a
simple:
company with a
equal
public
access for
profile
everyone working in this
substantial
building.
enough to
It
occasionally
streamlines how we
attract
utilize our
unwanted
shared
attention.
spaces.
And a
Good evening,
pattern
Mr.
like
Gideon.
this, 4 flights,
Hello, Samuel.
4 different airlines.
Please, don't stand on
A
our
stranger
account.
who seemed
Oh, of course, thank you.
genuinely happy to see his 3-year-old daughter every single time. Was the kind of thing any reasonably careful parent would want looked into rather than
I'm really
simply
glad you came
explained
today,
away.
Samuel. Your perspective is
He called
important.
his head of security.
Really? Thank you,
A former
Tessa.
federal agent
I appreciate you
named
saying that.
Ruiz, who'd handled 2 genuinely serious situations for the family over the years, both involving considerably more alarming behavior than an elderly man waving at a toddler, and asked him to look into it quietly. I don't want anyone approaching him, Griffin said. I just want to know who he is before I decide whether this is nothing or something. The 3 days waiting on Diego's report were, by Griffin's own account, some of the more unsettled days he'd had since Elena's death. Not because anything alarming had actually happened, but because his imagination, once given permission to consider scanning gate areas.
Maintain your best glide speed, Richard. Keep it right at 6 to 5 knots. 6 to 5 knots. I have it.
Careful to keep his
The
own
field is
enemies
in
from
sight.
bleeding into hers.
Here you go.
But he
Have a nice
noticed
flight.
himself
Thanks, you
watching her
too.
A little more closely at every layover. And he didn't love what that watchfulness told him about how quickly a father's mind could tilt toward worst-case thinking once it had a reason to. Diego's initial
I suppose
report
after
came
all
back
this
within
time,
3 days.
you deserve the truth about what
And I
happened
want
back
to walk
then.
through what it actually
It concerns
contained,
your father and
because
I.
think the specific
I didn't want to
texture
tell you this way, but you
matters to
deserve
how
the truth
Griffin's
about
own
Richard
anxiety
Cassel.
developed
He
over that
manipulated us
period.
all.
The
Gordon,
man's name
no.
was Gordon Pace.
Control, we have an
74 years
uncontained
old,
engine failure in Engine 3.
retired commercial
The fire
airline
suppression
pilot
system has failed.
with 38
We are
years of
initiating
flight
emergency
experience,
descent procedures.
no criminal record of
I knew
any
your
kind,
father,
no restraining
the New Year
orders,
tray from a
no
time
history
Bagrini.
that raised any conventional red flag
A
at all.
very long time ago.
He
It's
lived
okay.
alone in a modest
You can sit
house
here with
outside
us.
Denver,
There's plenty of
was
room.
widowed, and had purchased, as far as Diego's team could determine through publicly available booking patterns, tickets on all 4 of the flights in question, using his own name and his own credit card, with no indication of anything concealed or falsified. There's nothing here that looks like a threat profile. Diego told Griffin over the phone. No financial irregularities, no history of harassment or complaints, nothing suggesting he's operating under a false identity or hiding anything material about himself. If I'm being honest, a clean
I don't want
record is
anyone
what's actually
confronting him.
strange about this.
I only want to know
Most
who he
situations
is.
Like this, there's something in the background that explains the behavior. Here, there isn't. Which either means he's better at covering his tracks than anyone I've dealt with in 15 years of doing this, or the far more boring explanation is somehow also the true one. That's actually what worries me more. Griffin admitted to Diego on the phone. If he was hiding something, at least, it would make sense as a threat I could name. A retired pilot with a clean record, deliberately booking flights that happen to match my travel schedule 4 times in 6 weeks. How would he even know my schedule well enough to do that? I think it's worth pausing here, because this is roughly the point where a story like this could easily stretch the tension out for a long while. And I don't want to do that to you. What actually happened next moved quickly, mostly because Griffin, to his credit, decided he'd rather have an uncomfortable direct conversation than sit with unresolved dread for another 6 weeks of unpredictable flights. He had Diego arrange it carefully, not confrontationally. Simply a quiet approach in the terminal before their next scheduled flight together. A trip to Phoenix in early November that Diego had confirmed through the same booking pattern tracking. Gordon Pace had also purchased a ticket for. Griffin found
Thank
him
you,
at the
Gordon.
gate,
You saved my
sitting with a
life.
paperback novel he wasn't
I'm just
actually
glad you're
reading.
okay.
Watching,
Anyone would have
Griffin
done the same.
realized once he was close enough to see clearly. For exactly
Welcome aboard,
the two
sir.
of them to arrive.
Enjoy your flight.
Mr.
Enjoy your
Pace,
flight.
Griffin said, keeping his voice level and not unkind, though firm enough to make clear this wasn't a chance encounter. I think we need to talk. Gordon looked up, and something in his face, Griffin said later, shifted immediately from warmth to a kind of resigned, almost relieved embarrassment. The look of a man who has been waiting for exactly this conversation, and is not entirely sorry it's finally arrived.
Command, do you copy?
We're still circling the area, but visibility is near zero. Wait, I think I saw movement at coordinates
I should have
4R.
introduced myself properly a long time ago. I'm sorry if I frightened you. That was never my intention. I want to slow down here, because I think this is the exact moment when the story stops being about suspicion and starts being about something else entirely. And I don't want to rush past it. You knew my father, Griffin said. It wasn't quite a question. I did, Gordon said, a very long time ago, and probably not in a way you've ever heard about, since I don't imagine he told this story often. Would you sit with me for a minute? I promise I can explain everything, and I think once I do...
Excuse me, my name is Griffin. I was just wondering why we keep ending up on the same flights.
Griffin, it is a pleasure to meet you. I suppose it is quite the coincidence.
Like any sensible person would have done.
Diego, it's Griffin. I need you to track the package. We have a situation.
Stay within sight, still cautious despite everything Gordon had said so far. And Romy, delighted, immediately climbed into the seat beside Gordon, rather than her father, entirely unaware of the tension that had brought this conversation about in the first place. I flew for Continental.
Hey, Samuel,
38
glad you made
years,
it.
Gordon
Yeah,
began.
welcome aboard.
Before that,
The
in my
coffee is
20s,
great today.
I flew smaller charter routes out of a little airfield outside Wichita, building hours toward my commercial license, the way most of us did back then.
Hey, Samuel.
That's where I
Glad you
met
made it
your
in
father,
safely.
in the
Evening,
spring
Sam.
of
Thanks, folks. See you
1979.
tomorrow.
He was 24 years old, newly licensed himself, flying a second-hand Cessna he'd bought with money he'd scraped together from 2 years of a job he hated, chasing...
I apologize, Gideon, but the roads were completely iced over upstate. There was no way to get the shipment here on time.
I hear you, Sam. Let's figure this out.
His father's life at all, and his expression, by his own later account, must have shown it, because Gordon paused there, checking. I don't think I've ever heard this. There was an afternoon in June that year, when your father took that Cessna up for what should have been a routine hour of practice. And about 4 minutes later, he lost the engine and about 18 miles that down. I was flying a charter route nearby that same afternoon, close enough to pick up his distress call on the radio, and close enough, as it happened, to actually see him. Gordon described the next several minutes carefully, and I want to relay them to you the same way, because I think the specificity matters to understanding exactly what Griffin's father survived that day. His voice on that radio was about an octave
Another
higher
one
than it
for the
should have
wall.
been, Gordon said.
Your mother,
Which
she would
told
be
me
so
everything I needed
proud.
to know about how frightened he was before he'd even finished explaining.
You're
what had
Richard's
happened.
boy.
Engine had simply quit on him. No warning, no sputtering first. The kind of failure that leaves a young pilot with maybe 90 seconds to make every decision that's going to matter.
The safest approach vector
Richard
is
Cassel,
290. We'll set her
24
down
years
just
old
past
and
the irrigation
considerably less
pivot near the center of the
experienced
field.
than the situation demanded.
Over.
Had been talked through an emergency dead stick landing, coached in real time over the radio by a pilot he'd never met, guiding him toward a stretch of harvested wheat field flat enough to survive an impact that could easily have killed him at any number of points along the way. Gordon had stayed on the radio the entire time, calm and steady, walking Richard
Samuel,
through
we just wanted to
decisions
thank you
about
for
airspeed and
everything.
glide angle that a
Oh,
panicked
this is
24-year-old
wonderful.
with 40
Thank you all
hours of
so much.
solo flight time had no real training to make correctly on his
All right,
own.
Richard, just keep her steady.
The
You're
hardest
doing
part
fine.
wasn't the
We'll talk you
flying,
down step by
really,
step.
Gordon said. It was keeping him calm enough to actually hear me. Panic narrows a young pilot's whole world down to the windshield directly in front of him. And my job for those 90 seconds was mostly just being a steady voice reminding him he had more room to work with than his own fear was telling him he did. Trim for best glide speed. Pick your field early and commit to it. Don't go second-guessing yourself.
Flight 4054 to Denver is now pre-boarding at Gate 12.
Said calmly, over and over, until they became the only voice loud enough to compete with his own panic. Griffin tried to picture it, his father as a frightened young man he'd never known existed, a stranger's voice the only thing standing between him and disaster. What happened once he was on the ground? I lost radio contact with him. Gordon said. That's the part I've never forgotten, if I'm honest with you. 40 seconds of not knowing. Circling as low as I safely could to try to spot him.
Oh, thank God.
Genuinely uncertain
I see him.
whether the voice I'd just been talking to
Richard, he's
still
alive.
belonged to a living man.
Mayday, mayday, mayday! This is Flight 202. We have lost all power and are experiencing catastrophic failure. We are going down.
Climbing out from underneath them, I believe I said something out loud in that cockpit I wouldn't care to repeat in front of your daughter. He put it down about as well as a man with his experience level had any right to, Gordon said. Bent the landing gear pretty badly, cracked a wing spar, walked away himself without so much as a broken bone. I landed in the nearest field I could reach and drove out to
We have
find
confirmation on the
myself,
4 flights.
mostly
United
because I wanted
805
to
departed
see with my own
Sewell,
eyes
Delta
that
49er,
the voice
Chigan.
on the other end of
Welcome
the
aboard. Thanks.
was alive.
It's so much better having everyone on site now.
I agree completely.
This wasn't some minor professional
I can't believe we can finally use this space.
Griffin Cassel
It's
very
wonderful,
well
isn't it?
could not have
The new
survived
policies make such a
without
difference.
specific picture. Steady guidance of a stranger's voice over the radio. A fact Griffin, sitting in that airport gate 45 years later.
I suppose I
was
just
only
happened to
now
be in the
hearing
right
for
place at the
first
right
in his
time.
life. He wrote to me every year after
Your father
that,
was very proud of you.
Gordon said.
Approach, this is Flight 123, established on the visual 427 right.
Flight
123, wind 290 at 5, cleared to land. Tower, Clipper 49er heavy, runway 27 left, stabilized approach, landing configuration.
7 times over the years, when our paths happened to cross.
Steady now, Richard, maintain 80 knots. The threshold is almost under the nose.
I didn't think it was my
Maintain your
place to
airspeed,
make
Richard.
myself
Keep the
known
wings
to a
level
grieving
and look for a
family
clear
that had
patch
never
past the
really
tree
known
line.
who I was.
We are almost there.
Griffin sat with that for a long moment.
Maintain your glide
Why
speed,
didn't he
Richard.
ever
The
tell
field
me
is
all
clear
this?
ahead. We're almost there. Just keep it
I
steady.
couldn't say for certain, Gordon said. Men of your father's generation.
Keep it steady,
didn't
Richard,
always
just like we
talk easily
practiced.
about the moments that frightened them most.
You're almost there. The
Even the ones
airspeed
that
is
turned out
stabilizing.
right in the end.
Richard,
I
you
think
need to
in his
maintain
own
a
way,
shallow glide. Ease the pressure.
he might have found
Roger
it
that,
easier
Gordon.
to simply
Easing
be
pressure.
grateful
The instruments are
pilot
stabilizing.
than to
We're
relive it
leveling.
out loud very often.
Maintain 80 knots,
I want
Richard.
to shift
Flaps
now
20
to the part of
degrees.
the
Keep the
story
runway
that I
centered.
think matters
You're
even
looking
more
good.
than the
Keep it coming
recipe
down.
itself.
All right,
Because
stay
it's the
focused.
part
Keep the
I want
airspeed
to
steady at
explain
75.
why
You
I
are
don't
aligned.
like it.
Steady
But I
75.
don't
Oh,
want to
God.
interject
100
the
feet.
explanation
Almost there.
so
Keep it coming down
Gordon
gently.
had first
The
time.
waving
I
man.
promised you that. I recognized your paths for the families before I sank this high. I introduced myself
Samuel, I
briefly
just wanted to
that
say
day,
thank you for keeping this
mentioned
place
I'd known
so
your
comfortable.
father,
We
and
really
you were
appreciate
polite
it.
enough
Well,
about
thank
it,
you. That
though
means
I
a
could
lot.
tell you didn't think much of the
Welcome to the
conversation
team,
at the time.
Samuel.
Thank you, Gideon.
Griffin,
I'm truly
searching
grateful
his
for this
memory,
opportunity.
We are
found the
so
vaguest
happy for
outline
you.
of exactly such an exchange.
See this section here? We
Months
tackle
earlier,
this wing
a
last,
friendly
usually after
older
10.
man at
Okay,
the
so the
gate
executive
somewhere
suites are
he'd
straight
barely
ahead then.
registered
Right, and
before
remember the
going.
specialized solution
After
for the
that,
mahogany.
Gordon continued. I started paying attention to your company's public conference schedule and investor meeting calendar. The kind of thing any member of the public can find with a little searching if they know what they're looking for.
So what is your favorite part about working here in the building?
Honestly, it's the people. Everyone is just so collaborative and supportive.
Samuel, I'm so glad you're here.
Hey, kiddo. Me too.
Charter 80 Golf, winds are 290 at 5, altimeter 3001, cleared for takeoff, runway 27 right.
Roger that, taking runway 27 right, good day.
I never accessed anything private. I never followed you in any way that crossed into anything more and a great deal of free time.
Keep her steady, Richard. The landing strip is now 10 miles ahead, just past the reservoir. Roger that, Gordon. Looking good down here.
And Cassel was consistent enough with pure educated no unusual financial activity. Nothing that resembles surveillance in any technical sense, Diego told Griffin. Just a retirement with a pilot's travel benefits and a great deal of free time, doing the kind of careful, old-fashioned detective work anyone with a newspaper and a calendar could manage if they cared enough to bother. There had been nothing that crossed any real line making educated guesses from publicly available travel industry announcements.
I'm serious. That's exactly what he said right before the server crashed. No way. You have to be making that up.
Much trouble just to catch a glimpse of us on the flight. Gordon was quiet for a moment, watching Romy, who had by then pulled a small stuffed rabbit from her bag and was carefully introducing it to him. My wife passed 11 years ago, and my own son and I haven't spoken in almost as long. It's a complicated thing to explain quickly, and I don't want to make myself sound like more of a victim than I actually am, because a good deal of that distance is of my own making. But the plain truth is, I live alone in a house too quiet for a man my age, and somewhere in the last year, watching your little girl wave at me from 3 rows back on an ordinary Tuesday flight became about the brightest thing in most of my weeks. I don't want to rush past this admission, because I think it deserves to be heard exactly as plainly as Gordon offered it, without either excessive pity or false cheerfulness layered over it. He wasn't asking Griffin to feel sorry for him. He was simply telling the truth about the quietly desperate habit he built for himself. One small, warm
Mayday, mayday, requesting immediate vectors to nearest runway. We are experiencing total hydraulic failure. Too low, terrain. Acknowledged, stable at 50 feet.
Because I don't want you thinking I'm some sad old man who needed your daughter to feel like his life had a point to it. I had 38 good years in a cockpit. I've seen more of this world than most men get to. I'm not asking anyone to pity that part of my life, because there's nothing in it that needs pitying.
The investigation findings show that everything about Gordon is completely clean. There are no irregularities whatsoever.
Person do things they might not otherwise have thought to try. He described, haltingly, what an ordinary week looked like for him now.
Samuel's dedication was unmatched. Yet, in all those years, nobody ever bothered to ask about his working conditions.
That he ate breakfast at alone most mornings. A calendar with considerably more blank squares than the one he'd kept during his flying years, when every day had been accounted for months in advance. He'd taken up woodworking 2 years earlier.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. We've suffered a catastrophic engine failure. Declaring an emergency.
And he'd gotten reasonably good at it. Had built, in fact, the better part of a rocking horse sitting unfinished in his garage.
The investigation into Gordon Pace is complete, sir. A retired pilot. Are you certain? This changes everything.
Why is that man all alone and cold, Daddy?
He looks sad, sweetheart. Maybe we can help him.
Half-sanded for the better part of a year. I suppose some part of me has been been waiting for a reason to believe finishing it wouldn't be pointless. Griffin found himself thinking, later that evening, about how many people move through the edges of a life like Gordon's without
If we
anyone ever
restructure the
asking
workflow
plain,
here, we could
direct
save
question
weeks.
that might reveal
That's brilliant.
exactly this kind
This
of
changes how we
quality.
approach the entire system.
Unglamorous
If the cold man has somewhere
sitting just
warm to
beneath an
go.
ordinary, well-dressed exterior. Gordon didn't look like a man in need of anything.
This isn't just about the main building. The data shows this is a systemic failure across multiple regions.
I agree. We need to address this immediately, starting with
The transition has been difficult. We need more training if you expect us to maintain efficiency.
I understand. That's exactly why I wanted to meet face to face.
Welcome back, everyone. Enjoy your meal.
Thanks,
we will. See you later.
His mother, my wife, was sick for the better part of
The
a
core
year
principle
before
of this
she
new
passed.
framework is simple.
And I was still
Equal access for
flying
everyone
long-haul
working in this
international
building.
routes at the
It
time,
streamlines how we utilize
close
our
enough
shared
to
spaces.
retirement that I
Good
could have
evening,
taken
Mr.
leave.
Gideon.
Could have been home
Hello, Samuel.
considerably more than I
Please,
was.
don't stand on our
I
account.
told myself
Oh, of
the
course,
job
thank you.
needed me. I told myself she'd want me to keep our health insurance solid through the treatment, which wasn't entirely untrue. But it
I'm really
also
glad you
wasn't
came
whole
today,
truth
Samuel. Your
of why I
perspective
kept
is important.
flying this
Really?
instead of staying
Thank you,
home
Tessa.
with her more than
I appreciate you saying that.
I don't think Gordon needed to spell out the rest for Griffin to understand it. Peter had watched his father choose repeatedly a career over his dying mother's remaining months, and whatever grief and anger had built up in him over that year had, in the 11 years since, hardened into a silence neither man had found a way to break. I've called him twice a year, birthdays mostly, Gordon said. Short, polite conversations that never go anywhere close to what actually needs saying. I don't think either of us knows how to start that conversation anymore, and the longer it goes unstarted, the harder. Here's where I want to go. It's the part of this story that turns
Maintain your best glide speed, Richard. Keep it right at 6 to 5 knots. 6 to 5 knots. I have it.
Griffin
The
didn't
field
try
is
to
in
fix
sight.
Gordon's family situation
Here you go.
with some
Have a nice
sweeping,
flight.
dramatic
Thanks, you too.
gesture. And I think that restraint matters. What he offered instead was smaller and in its own way more useful. He asked Gordon plainly whether he'd be willing to actually try properly this time to reach
I suppose
the
after all this time,
and whether
you
he'd
deserve
want
the
some
truth about
support
what happened
in
back
figuring
then.
out how,
It
rather
concerns
than
your
simply
father and
carrying
I.
the weight of it alone,
I didn't want to
the
tell you
way
this
he'd
way, but you
apparently been
deserve the
doing
truth
for
about
over a
Richard
decade.
Castle. He manipulated us
I know a
all.
family
Gordon,
therapist who
no.
specializes in exactly this
Control,
kind
we have
of
an
crisis
uncontained
story.
engine failure in engine 3. The fire suppression
Not for me
system
to
has
pay
failed.
out of guilt,
We are
and
initiating
not because I
emergency
think
descent
money
procedures.
fixes something like this.
I knew your father.
I'm
the
offering
New Year
because
trait
you
from a
clearly
time
want
begriny.
this fixed, and 11 years of
A very
silence
long time
usually
ago.
needs a bit more
It's okay.
structure to break
You can sit
than
here
a
with us.
single phone
There's
call
plenty of
carries
room.
on its own. Gordon considered this for a long moment. I don't deserve for this to be easy, he said. I made choices back then I still don't have a clean excuse for. Maybe not, Griffin said. But Romy doesn't know a single thing about any of that. And she's been delighted every single time she's seen you on a flight for the last 8 months. I don't think it's my place to tell you what you deserve. I do think it's worth trying, if any part of you still wants to. Gordon agreed cautiously. And I want to be honest with you about how slowly what followed actually
I don't want
moved,
anyone confronting
because I
him.
don't think this story
I only
does
want to
anyone
know who
justice
he is.
if I tell you it resolved quickly or easily. The first call to Peter, made 3 weeks later with the therapist's guidance, lasted 11 minutes and ended, by Gordon's own account, with both men in tears and absolutely no resolution beyond an agreement to talk again the following week. It took 4 months of careful, therapist-guided conversations before Peter agreed to meet his father in person. A lunch that Gordon described afterward as simultaneously the best and most excruciating 2 hours of his life, full of long silences and half-finished sentences neither man quite knew how to complete. Gordon told Griffin about that first lunch in more detail. Months later, once enough time had passed that he could talk about it, without his voice catching quite so often. They'd met at a diner roughly halfway between their 2 towns, neutral either of them had any particular history with. And Peter had arrived 12 minutes late, sitting stiffly across the booth with his coat still zipped, as though he hadn't fully committed to staying. I asked him about his kids first, Gordon said. Seemed safer than starting anywhere near his mother. He answered in short sentences for a long while, the kind of answers you give someone who's still deciding whether to trust with anything real. It wasn't until I finally just said
Thank you, Gordon. You saved my life.
that I knew I'd failed him.
I'm just
and
glad
his
you're
mother
okay.
Both those last
Anyone
months,
would have done the same.
and that I didn't have a version of that year I could tell him.
Welcome
Made it
aboard, sir.
sound like anything
Enjoy your
other
flight.
than what it was.
Enjoy your flight.
That something in his shoulders actually came down an inch or two. Peter had cried at that time, Gordon said. The first time he'd seen his grown son cry since he was a teenager, and Gordon had cried too. Neither man quite managing to say much of anything useful for several minutes afterward. Just two men sitting with 11 years of silence, finally cracking open between them over cold coffee.
Command, do you copy?
We're still circling the area, but visibility is near zero. Wait, I think I saw movement at coordinates
All the
4R.
things he wanted to say to me for years. And every time he'd actually pick up the phone to call on my birthday, all of it would just evaporate. And he'd end up talking about the wedding instead. I think we'd both been waiting for the other one to go first, for longer than either of us wanted to admit. It took closer to a year before Peter brought his own children, Gordon's grandchildren, to meet him properly for the first time in longer than any of them could clearly remember. 2 kids, 9 and 6. He'd grown up and knew nothing about a grandfather. They'd assumed simply wasn't interested in knowing them.
Excuse me, my name is Griffin. I was just wondering why we keep ending up on the same flights.
Griffin, it is a pleasure to meet you. I suppose it is quite the coincidence.
2 children sizing up a stranger.
Diego,
their father
it's
had
Griffin.
only
I need you to
recently
track the
started
package.
mentioning.
We have a
By the end of
situation.
that first afternoon, the younger one, 6 years old, had claimed a spot on Gordon's lap to watch a cartoon. And Gordon said he'd had to excuse himself to the bathroom afterward. Mostly so nobody would see him properly fall apart over something so small and so enormous at once.
Hey, Samuel, glad you made it. Yeah,
Gordon
welcome
told
aboard.
Griffin.
The coffee
Close
is
to
great
18
today.
months after that first conversation in the airport gate. I don't know if fixed is even the right word for something like this, but we talk most weeks now.
Hey, Samuel. Glad you made it in safely.
Evening, Sam.
Thanks, folks.
More
See you
than
tomorrow.
the previous 11 years combined. Peter still gets quiet sometimes, in a way I understand better than I used to, and I let him have that quiet instead of rushing to fill it the way I might.
I apologize,
once.
Gideon, but the roads were
I
completely
think
iced
that's
over
its own
upstate.
kind of
There was no way to
progress.
get the shipment here on time.
Griffin
I
and
hear you,
Gordon's
Sam.
own
Let's
friendship,
figure this out.
meanwhile, had settled into something neither man had quite expected when this all started with an uneasy security report about a stranger. Gordon still flies with them now, most trips. Though these days it's by direct invitation, rather than careful guesswork from a public conference calendar. And Romy, now approaching 5, has taken to calling handful of small things a retired pilot apparently can't help but pass along to a curious 5-year-old. How to read a windsock, why airplanes bank the way they do when they turn, the proper way to shake a stranger's hand at a gate, the way her grandfather, in Gordon's telling, always insisted mattered more than people realized. Griffin has caught himself, more than once, watching the two of them together with a
Another one
specific
for the
ache
wall.
that isn't quite grief.
Your mother, she would be so proud.
Somewhere close to both, watching his daughter receive.
You're
From a
Richard's
man
boy.
who spent decades of his life in cockpits far from home. Exactly the kind of unhurried attention Griffin's own father had rarely had the time to offer him at that age. I think your father would have liked that.
The safest approach vector is 290. We'll set her down just past the irrigation pivot near the center of the field. Over.
Tray table, narrating an elaborate story about which one was in charge. Watching her grow up around people who actually have the time to sit still with her. I I don't know that I ever had that kind of time to give Peter, back when it would have mattered most. I like to think some of what I owe him, I found a way to pay forward here instead. Even if that's not quite
Samuel,
the
we
same
just wanted to
thing as
thank you
paying
for
it to the
everything.
person it was actually owed to.
Oh, this is wonderful. Thank you all so much.
Same thing, Griffin said. Maybe it's still worth something.
All right, Richard, just keep her steady. You're doing fine. We'll talk you down step by step.
Gordon told Griffin once. On a quiet flight somewhere over Kansas, Romy asleep between them with her stuffed rabbit tucked under one arm. I understand now I was really just chasing the feeling of being needed by a family again, in whatever small, borrowed way I could manage. I'm glad he didn't let that stay borrowed. I don't think there's a tidy way to summarize
Flight
everything this story
4054
ended
to
up being
Denver is
about.
now pre-boarding
And I
at
don't
Gate
think it
12.
needs one. It started as something that looked, for a little while, like it might be frightening, and it turned out instead to be about a decades-old debt neither man had ever properly settled, and a lonely man's quiet, imperfect attempt to find his way back into the kind of warmth he'd let slip away from his own family. One hopeful fight that, for what it's worth, did eventually get finished. Gordon brought it out himself, a little over a year after that airport gate conversation, on a visit where Peter's
Oh, thank God. I see him. Richard, he's alive. Mayday, mayday, mayday. This is Flight 202. We have lost all power and are experiencing catastrophic failure. We are going down.
Present for that same visit, declared the horse's name would be Captain, on the grounds that anything given by a pilot deserved a proper aviation name. And nobody in the room saw any reason to argue with her about it. If there's something worth taking from this one, it's that the strangest, most unsettling patterns in our lives sometimes have gentler explanations than we brace ourselves for.
We have confirmation on the 4 flights. United 805 departed Seoul, Delta 49er Chigan.
Welcome aboard. Thanks. It's so much better having everyone on site now.
I agree completely.
I can't believe we can finally use this space. It's wonderful, isn't it? The new policies make such a difference.
I suppose I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Your father was very proud of you.
Approach, this is Flight 123, established on the visual 427 right.
Flight 123, wind 290 at 5, clear to land. Tower, Clipper 49er heavy, runway 27 left, stabilized approach, landing configuration.
Steady now, Richard, maintain 80 knots. The threshold is almost under the nose. Maintain your glide speed, Richard. The field is clear ahead. We're almost there. Just keep it steady.